and welcome to the Bruce Channel. I'm Bruce, and wow, it's been like 2 weeks worth of stuff crammed into 1 week. Yeah. So the Reverend Billy Graham was laid to rest on Friday, and first he lay in state, I suppose. Here in North Carolina, folks from all over came to pay respects, including George W. and Laura Bush. Then he was flown to D.C., where he lay in the Capitol Rotunda. Then he was flown back here to North Carolina, and you likely know all of this. It was national news, but here it was like the lead story on every single newscast all week. They had live reports of everything. The hearse on the highway. We break in to show you the hearse going down the roadway. They had live reports of the tent being built. And of course, the day of the funeral, probably every North Carolina station, maybe South Carolina too, they carried it live. It wasn't the wall-to-wall coverage something like a mass shooting engenders, but it's pretty close. And speaking of, this doesn't have anything to do about Billy Graham, but I've thought of telling you this before from time to time, and I've never remembered it. And it's not a big deal, but it's odd. I've lived in a lot of cities. I've visited dozens more, like you. You get to a city for the first time, you do at least a cursory examination of the television, the lay of the land, where's NBC, where's CBS. Everywhere there's a Fox affiliate, an NBC affiliate, a CBS affiliate, and an ABC affiliate. Everywhere. And pretty much everywhere, those four mount a pretty cutthroat competition to bring you the local news. And they all back it up with slogans and sometimes data. And everywhere else within my experience, the various independent stations, the smaller networks, like ION, CW, they don't have their own news. Sometimes they do piggyback one of the others into their programming. That happens here. The CW shows the NBC affiliate's late night news, except they put it on at 10 instead of 11. Presumably the cast and crew gets additional pay for doing it twice. Anyway, and this is weird, the ABC affiliate doesn't bother. Long ago they discovered they couldn't compete. So instead of local news and local meteorologists, again, this is the ABC station, they piggyback onto what used to be Time Warner News, now known as Spectrum. Just strikes me as very strange. So what a week at the White House, huh? I mean, I could talk about nothing else and go on for an hour and not run dry. I won't, but Jared Kushner had his bad week. He lost his top security clearance, top secret clearance. He never actually had it. He just had a temporary clearance that never got finalized. Then reports came out that due to the fact that his company is so deeply in debt, 4 countries, when time came for negotiations, 4 countries specifically asked him to be the negotiator because they thought he was naive, inexperienced. That's both true vis-a-vis international diplomacy, but that because of the debt, they thought they could leverage him. Then, at a White House meeting, the ostensibly Republican president told Republican lawmakers that they were petrified of the NRA. At that meeting, he contradicted his vice president, said, no, why wait for due process? If someone is suspected of being mentally ill, let's just take the guns first and then let due process play out. Both Republicans and Democrats were pretty well amazed at that. Then one of his closest advisors, Communications Director Hope Hicks, testified before the House Intelligence Committee. She admitted she occasionally told what she called little white lies while doing her work. And then nobody saw this coming. Then she announced she was resigning and would leave the White House within a month. Then still halfway through the week, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia had developed an invincible new missile strike force, could strike anywhere in the U.S. and could not be stopped. Not yet clear if he's bragging about something that's ready, almost ready, but in the abstract it could work. Cruise missiles fly very low. They avoid radar. We've used them repeatedly. But what he describes is they're powered by nuclear engines, which gives them unlimited range. They could launch, stay just above sea level. They could go around Africa. They could go around South America. They could stay below and then only come up when they were ready to strike a target like Miami or New York or Seattle. It's a scary thought. not going to mention Robert Mueller's investigation very much, except to say this. He keeps getting indictments. If it were a witch hunt or a nothing burger, as it's also been called, then why all the indictments? There have been a lot of them, likely more coming. Even if every single indictment results in an acquittal, and of course there have been pleadings of guilt, but nevertheless, if they were all acquitted, at the very least the indictments prove it is not a nothing burger. Oh, and since he who must not be named says there's no collusion, then why hasn't he, as I think any innocent person would do, why hasn't he said, great, come on, bring it on, investigate away. I'll be vindicated and you'll be made to look the fool. And tariffs. He unilaterally, just out of the blue, speaking extemporaneously apparently, because nobody saw it coming, said he's going to put tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. Now, his advisors don't want him to do that. Our allies, Canada, the EU, they don't want us to do that. There's talk of a trade war. I had a friend before the election said, yes, he's inarticulate, but why are you worried? He will have advisors. Yeah, he has advisors. And he has made patent the fact that he doesn't care what his advisors say. I wonder what she thinks now. So I revealed a couple of weeks ago my cynicism after the school shooting in Florida. I said that despite the uproar and the anguish, why should we hope of any different outcome this time? And indeed, the first days afterward, the usual postures were adopted by the usual players. But the kids continued. They kept turning up the heat. The kids. Oh, that got the opposition upset. Some of the wackos on the right were saying, the kids are hired actors. So it is still too soon to say anything has changed permanently, to declare that anything has permanently changed, but there's signs. You know, there's signs of hope. While I believe in due process, a Republican president saying, take the guns first, that's a shot across the bow. Then Delta Airlines and National Car Rental and other companies ended their partnership discounts with the NRA. A bank is ending its credit card membership program with the NRA. And then Dick's Sporting Goods and its affiliates like Field and Stream announced they were no longer going to sell AR-15s and that they were upping the age to buy guns to 21. Walmart almost immediately followed suit. Another outdoor supplier, I can't remember, it's not one I'd ever heard of, but they announced a similar policy. So it is too soon to declare it is really anything, but it's not too soon to hope that it really is something. So big weather news this week, both coasts. Remember the bomb cyclone from January? And for the record, that is when the barometric pressure falls 24 millibars or more in 24 hours. Well, they've got another one brewing at my deadline. I don't know if it achieved that metric, but even if not, big winds, big weather, worse, full moon. That means the tide is highest, so yeah, flooding up and down the coast from Maine all the way down to North Carolina, further inland up north, big snow. Lots of flights canceled because of the wind. Reportedly, there are millions without power. A friend of mine in Cleveland posted a picture. A big tree fell over onto the roof of one of his neighbors. The big winds made flying an adventure. On one flight into D.C., the landing was so, actually not the landing, but the approach was so rough, being buffeted up and down and left and right, buffeted so severely, the pilot said nearly everyone on board threw up. I remember once, decades ago, we were in Delaware visiting a horse farm, and we were to fly back to Cleveland. It was a Sunday, it was winter, and the farm owner was affluent, and he had his private plane fly us. Pretty cool. I don't think it was a twin engine, I think a single engine, but this was the coolest of all. The pilot let me sit in the co-pilot seat. I don't know what all that stuff was. A lot of gauges, but they were cool. And I could listen on the radio. But in Cleveland, when we got there that night, it was bitter cold. The overnight temperature was scheduled to fall to around 0, maybe below. But it was the wind. It was exactly what was described at the airport in Washington. I had a front row seat, buffeted left, trying to stay level. There's the ground. We're coming close, and then we're being tipped and blown left and right. It was gusty. The pilot kept having to correct. Actually, that's probably the closest I've ever come to dying. If we had been tipped at the last moment, wow, the right wing, the left wing might have hit the ground, and, well, I'm here, but I can imagine what those passengers must have felt like. Meanwhile, big storm in California, lots of hurt there, lots of rain in some places, which could set off more mudslides, the likes of which killed, 20 people last month before? And then if you get in the high country, blizzard conditions. There's already been a report of an avalanche having killed at least one person. You don't often use blizzard and California in the same sentence, but it can happen. So it's only 1 month since the Super Bowl, and the NFL is back on the front pages of the sports section. It's amazing how they do that. Even though its product may be in retreat because of the drip, drip, drip of head trauma, that's not going away, it is still the most successful sports league on the planet. Their marketing is without equal. It's the off-season, right? But the end of the week saw the NFL Combine. A number of players who are draft eligible get invited to come and show off their skills to representatives from all 32 teams, how fast they run, how high they jump. For the linemen, how well they block or get through people. For quarterbacks, how well can they throw. For receivers, how well can they catch. And they are interviewed in private, and they have them take mental tests. By the way, I've taken some of those. They're called Wonderlic tests. You can find them online. I tell you what, they are very, very hard. Not every question, but some of them. And it's 50 questions in 12 minutes. And some of them, you just wait, what in the world are they asking? Getting a passing grade is really hard. Anyway, that was this week. In a little over a week, free agency begins, and then the teams will try and sign guys whose previous contracts have expired. Then draft day happens at the end of April. Then the newly drafted players report, and they get their playbooks, and they have physicals. And then pretty soon it's the opening of training camp. Marketing geniuses, beyond doubt.
Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. For most of my adult life, I weighed a little over 100 pounds, not much more than in this picture taken when I was about 17 and considering becoming a jockey. But as is often true, once I crossed into my 40s, extra weight came, and it stayed. For years, I tried to lose, instead gained, and ended up 153 pounds. And I'm embarrassed to show you this video. Then I learned that it isn't about calories and exercise, but instead it's about what you eat. You might say, sure, ice cream makes you fat. But there were surprises, things like orange juice not being such a wise choice if you're trying to lose weight. So I just made some basic changes to what I ate, not how much, and the weight just fell off. Now, nearly 3 years later, it is still off. And don't misunderstand, I'm eating foods I like, not bamboo shoots. Friends ask me how I did it so often, I put it in a book. It's available as an ebook for all platforms, and the print edition is available at barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. Hey, you can shrink too.
Welcome back. Remember, you can write to us at the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com, and you can watch all of our previous shows at either our Facebook page or at tinyworld.com/Bruce Channel. All right. Still on sports for... one more NFL thing. So Papa John's Pizza got the heave-ho as the official pizza of the NFL. Now Pizza Hut is the official pizza of the NFL. So Pizza Hut pays homage? Homage? I always used to call it homage. But anyway, so they pay homage to the league in the form of dollars. And they get to say, we're the official pizza of the NFL. Does anybody in the solar system care? If you're going to order a pizza, do you really look up and see who's affiliated with the NFL and who's not? All right, so what I was going to tell you, the Olympics closed up, and in the wake of that, I discovered something shocking. It cost a lot to put on the Olympics. That's not shocking, but it costs so much, fewer and fewer candidates are bidding to try and become the host. For example, 2004 Summer Olympics, 12 cities from around the world bid. For the upcoming 2020 games, only 5. The 2022 Winter Games only got 2 bids. The 2024 Summer Olympics only got 2 bids. This is the International Olympic Committee saw that and took the unprecedented step of awarding the 2 cities that bid for 2024, gave them each Summer Olympics. That is, Paris gets the 2024 Summer Olympics. Los Angeles gets the one in 2028. Why? They were afraid if they waited, no one would bid for 2028. It costs a fortune. And too often there's nothing to do afterwards. Sarajevo hosted the Winter Olympics in '84, and this is the only reminder. All right, that was decades ago, but look at this. This is just 2 years after Rio hosted the Summer Olympics, and it's a white elephant. All right, so I spoke of the weather earlier in the program, that nor'easter didn't have too much effect here, although it did drop the temps. It was pretty gusty. We'd been skirting with record highs and record high lows, and as a result, my lawn has needed mowing since mid-February. That's a month early. The daffodils are up, and astonishingly, I walked out Thursday morning and discovered my camellia had blooms. And I don't have any Bradford pears, but they're in full peak. They're welcome, but they're too early. Oh, that nor'easter did bring us high winds on Friday. We had sustained winds of around 30. Some of the gusts hit nearly 60. So it's March. It's kite flying weather. Let's go flying a kite up to the highest heights. Yeah, well, 50-mile-an-hour winds would likely crush your kite, you know. But other observations. So in the morning, it's been getting light here just in front of 620. Not light, but you can walk around, see the bushes and the trees without artificial lighting. I often take Katie out earlier than that, and I found that wearing a forest lamp is a really good way to go out when it's still dark. Nothing unusual there, but a couple of weeks ago, when it was still warm, we were out, and in the beam of light, there appeared to be a drizzling, it overstates it, a drop of something passing through the beam of light. And I looked upward, I didn't see anything, and honestly, it was like very, very fine snow, and the very opening moments of a very light snow. You know, there's one, and then there's another, but it was 56 degrees. I knew it couldn't be snow. I was confounded, which happens a lot. But then I looked up at the spotlight, the side of the house, and I realized they were not water droplets. They were not snowflakes. They were gnats. Warm snap. Gnats. Yeah. So it's changing weather time, obviously. And that means, too, that anytime we'll start hearing the news about devastating tornado outbreaks somewhere, and I have a solution. It won't end weather calamities, at least not altogether, but it may lessen their frequency. It's a terrific idea. It's one so good I may use it as my platform and run for office. Here's my plan. So July is usually too hot, right? And so can be August. Meanwhile, January and February, and even much of March can be cruel. And March and April are when the worst of tornado season is, right? So it's easy. We aren't going to do anything about November or December because we need Thanksgiving. That starts the shopping season. The retailers say they need that. And there's no point messing with the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and the bowl games. But take off half of January. Lousy weather. We won't miss those days. Same thing for February. Half of it gone. Except leap year when it can have 15 days instead of 14. March doesn't need all 31 days. Let's give it 22. We can keep bringing spring. Knock 3 off of April, lessening the chance of those April tornadoes. Let's give July 24 days. August the same. And you know what? We have just saved. We've removed 53 days that have a higher than average likelihood of either dangerous or uncomfortable weather. Then we take those 53 days and we distribute them into the good weather months like, May and June and September and October. It's a win-win. All right, upcoming this week. Today is Marching Band Day. It is. It is also the only day of the year that is a direct order, March 4th. Tonight, the Oscars. Full disclosure, I'm not nominated for anything, and none of the films in which I've participated has been nominated for anything. That's okay. As a lifelong Cleveland sports fan, I'm well prepped on what to say to that. Wait till next year. Tuesday is Dentist Day. Thursday, International Women's Day. Let it be clearly understood. I am all for women. I like women. Saturday is, you may want to cover your ears, International Bagpipe Day. Actually, I quite like bagpipes. It's just, it doesn't take too much to reach a level of satiety, Finally, at the end of the week, the year in, year out, statistically safest hours in terms of traffic accidents. That's true. Absolutely every year, the fewest traffic accidents are reported. Happens every year, and it's the end of this week. All right, not to split hairs, it's actually the very beginning of next week. Between 2 and 3 a.m. this coming Sunday morning, there will be the fewest traffic accidents ever. So enjoy it. And may the rest of your upcoming week be the best one you've ever had.